So how would you like to see the full structure of a hypnosis business funnel and understand the consumer psychology that goes into building that? Or are you interested in seeing the difference between what works in theory compared to the insights that you gain from actually putting what you know into practice? Or would you like to see the law of packaging and positioning actually applied to your own offers to increase the value proposition and the perception that your audience has to really take a digital offer and make it feel more tangible? Well, I'm going to show you exactly what I did in day 9 and day 10 in this 30-day hypnosis business funnel build challenge. Hi, I'm Shane Falzard. I've been a hypnotherapist, hypnotherapy trainer, and hypnotic entrepreneur for the last 15 years. I'm also the founder of booknotic.com, which is the world's first rapid super learning experience based on the world's best-selling nonfiction books that integrates hypnosis and meditation together to help you learn better from those sorts of books. I'm also a co-founder of omnisyncpro.io, which is one of the world's first all-in-one AI-enabled platforms to help healers, coaches, and therapists to market their business, to create websites, create online courses. And I do that by helping them to brand up their business better, to help them package up their offers better, to help them understand how to use technology and automation to save themselves time so they can spend more time doing what they love to do, which is to impact their clients and really kind of give their best from that place of passion, from heart, from soul, and to make the world a better place. Okay, let's jump straight into day 9. So where we left off from day 7, day 8, it was really looking at the strategy, looking at some of the elements that we need to build into the funnel, and then looking at the tech stack, what was the tech stack we're going to use, and looking at some of the marketing laws and how we're going to build that. So day 8 and day 7 was building the landing page template, which we have here. So what I did with day 9 was actually then to think about the rest of the funnel. And so it goes from sales page or landing page into an OTO 1, so one-time offer 1, one-time offer number 2, and then we have 2 different thank you pages. One is they've chosen to upgrade, and so we want to recognize them and thank them for that. And the other thank you is they didn't upgrade, but we're still going to give them a thank you. And so what I did with day 9 was spend time developing these templates. Now, what you'll find is they're very similar because, again, I've been focused on the structure and not necessarily the detail just yet. So day 9 was just getting the process and the structure right. And then it was then looking at how do I then, when we send people to a thank you page, one of the challenges is how do you get people to show up at the right time? And so you can have like a calendar button. So a button that they click once they've said, yes, I want to attend this thing, that it then automatically adds it to their calendar. Now there's services out there. There's SaaS applications out that you can pay money for, that you put a little bit of code on your website and it allows that function to be used. However, let's use AI. So what you can do is you can use this calendar buttons code where you can copy and paste this into, I think I used Claude for this one. And so I said, I want you to develop this book this into your calendar button. And I just mentioned, okay, my event's going to be an 8-hour event. Here's what it's called. It already had some of the context to it. And so what it did here is it added in a piece of code that I could then add in. Now, what I'm using to build these sites is omnisyncpro.io. And so if you're interested in getting a demo for yourself, you want to see how omnisyncpro.io can help you to grow your business, to build your business, to create funnels, then there'll be a link below this video that you can book in and we can give you a personalized demonstration. No obligation. We just want to make sure that you're making an informed choice. So that's what I've done is I've built this upon omnisyncpro.io, which allows me to create unlimited amount of funnels, unlimited amount of pages, and this funnel particularly has 5 pages as we're talking about. So I've then added in this button here. Now, when they click this extra button here, what it will do is it'll open it up where they can then go and select what calendar technology do they use. Do they use iCal? Do they use Outlook? Do they use Google Calendar? And so it's still going to add it to whatever calendar they use. And so that was a way of adding added functionality to the thank you page to increase the attendance rate, make it nice and easy for the attendees to remember to show up. And again, just making sure we had the right structure here as well. So that was what I spent day 9 doing. And before I kind of show you the real page, I then spent day 10. And I sat here and I thought, I've got an idea. I had a color scheme, and if you watched, I think it was like day 4 or day 5, I already selected a color scheme, but I really wasn't happy with it. And it's one of those things that I find that anytime you'll often find this, at least I've found it often, is that I have the first idea. The first idea is not always the best idea. And so I want to let it sort of marinate a little bit to kind of go, is that the thing I want to move forward with? Because I don't want to move forward too far down the path with a decision that I want to redecide. So what I did is I went to AI, and I think I used OpenAI for this, so ChatGPT. And I just said, based on my new offer, see the attached file for context, I want you to develop a range of brand color schemes. That was all I said. So pretty basic. I dropped in my product digital brain file that we created in day 4, and it then gave me, I think, 5 different options. So we had this calm authority, this modern performance, this premium credential, grounded momentum, human confidence, 5 different options. Now, they were just all text, and it was hard to actually see what this was. So I then copied this and I pasted it into Gemini, and I just said, and I dropped in my product file, and then just said, show me what this would look like as a brand. And so that's what it produced, these images here. So now when I kind of scroll back or pull out, I can then get a feel, okay, which ones do I like? Do I like this sort of style, this style, this style, this style, this style? So the style I selected was this one here. So what I then did is I said, okay, well, I had to go back and I had to redesign my logos. I had to put my logos into that same color scheme. Again, if you're watching day 4 or day 5, you'll see that I chose black and red and magenta. So I had to go back and redesign this. So I redesigned these in Photoshop. So it was fairly easy to just change the color scheme of some of the key areas. And then what I did is within OmniSyncPro.io, there's a branding board. So I put this branding board together so I can see everything clearly. So this is like a banner style logo, and this is like a square logo. So I've got my logo for 2 different configurations because there's different areas of the website that will be used. These are my colors. These are my branding colors, again, that I just pulled from what AI gave me up here, the best out of the 5. And then I just made sure I was clear on what the typography was going to be, what the font was going to be that I was going to use. And so from there, I was like, okay, now what that meant is I had to go back, and you can see like these templates, they're just black and white, black and white, black and white. There's a little bit of the color I added in there. So I then had to change all of that. So the next step was to go back into the funnels and start updating the colors. Now, what I did is I also wanted to take my content, which is all going to be digital products. So I'm not sending anything out through the mail. This is all digital products. And so one of the concepts is packaging and positioning. So how do you package up what you're offering to people in a way that's going to have higher perceived value? And one way to do that is to create these 3D mock-ups. And so what I started off with was I want to, my framework has 4 stages to it. So instead of just having one image, what helps is to kind of tease it out so it looks like it's a bigger program. I mean, it's a big program, but how do you convey that value and that depth to your audience if you just give them one image? So I had the idea that I would create a portrait aspect ratio, which means it sort of stands up like an A4 bit of paper, for a book cover for each of the 4 stages. And I gave it some context about what was all 4 stages. And again, you don't need to know the full detail of the context. It's more the prompt that you may want to reuse. So if you have 5 stages, you do 5 books. If you've got 3 stages, you do 3 books. It doesn't have to be books. I just chose to use books in this case. And so I copied this and I put it through Gemini. And so this is what it started to do. So it gave me the first cover design, which is for stage 1 called Prime. And then I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Not exactly what I was after, but it gave me some food for thought. And I just said, well, next. and it gave me the next one. And eventually I kept going, and you'll see why I've got legacy here. Now, legacy is not a stage in my program. I've only got 4 stages. I think I generated about 20 book covers. I just kept on saying next, 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 because I didn't really like these icons to begin with. And so I just kind of kept it going, and it was trying to go, okay, you want me to come with another book name? All right, here's another book name. And it got to 20 or so. You can see this is stage 10. I've only got 4 stages. So it just made things up. But what I was really looking at was the icons it came up with. And so it was those icons that I then leveraged off to then create these book covers. Now I'll show you this on here. So this is stage 3, and you can see I utilized the icon from the 10th book design that it gave me. This flash lock one, this is probably the 23rd design that it came up with, because the first design I just wasn't really happy with. It just didn't meet my expectations. Same with this one here. So this prime, which is like a human head but it was missing the east. And I was like, yeah, it's not quite right for me. And so I leveraged off that to then come up with this design here. So it's kind of loosely resembles a brain with a compass in it. And so what I was able to do was create these individual files. Now, how did I do that? I did them through Photoshop, and I also created this kind of the iMac design as well. I just played around with it. I made like the A as the top of as the triangle there as well. I put live in there because it's going to be a live course. And so what I then did was developed it through Photoshop. And so this is why I'm a big fan of Photoshop. I can do a lot more with it than Canva. You can do something similar to Canva, but I have a template that just kind of looks like this. It's a iMac template, and it has these layers in it. So all I had to do was double click into this, and I can then start adjusting everything here. So I put my logo in there, I put the name in here, I put a photo of me. I've got these hypnotic swirls in the background. Some are faded in, faded out, enlarged. And so it's just to create a bit of depth, put a slight shadow behind everything. And this became like the main image. And then here it was you can see it looks like it's actually on a screen now. And then what I did was go and create the books. Now I have a book template just like this. And so I pulled up the book template. I went into here. I went and found a background image of like the stars. So I put the stars in the background. I found a few of these bright stars, and I threw them in. I put my logo at the top. I just put a logo without the text in the bottom corner. So really strongly branded together. Tried to make sure that the headline was really easy to see. And then just put a logo in there. And so I used this, I created one, and then used it as a template to create multiples as well. And so that's where I then ended up with these 4 books here. And so that then gave me the basis to then put these together to create a showcase image. And I'll show you what I mean in a moment. This is what the landing page currently looks like. And if I flick back here, just so you can kind of see where we left off, we left it looking like this originally. So it was kind of very dark, black and white, wasn't really styled. It didn't have anything filled in. And so now we have a lot of these details filled in. Some of it's still not 100% complete yet. But just to kind of show you what I've done. So I've gone through and I started adding my own content. I filled everything in. But what I really want to show you is like this as an example. So we'll do open image in a new tab. You can see now what this does is it highlights that this looks like a full program now. And this is why I came up with these additional workbooks. Now, you want to be congruent with this. Like if you are going to list 4 different workbooks, guess how many workbooks you want to make sure you include in your package. So I'll make sure that each stage has a separate workbook. So it needs to be congruent as well. You don't want to bait and switch people. You don't want to make it look like, hey, you get 5 workbooks, but then it's actually just one workbook. So I've gone through here. I've added in testimonies. I've added in publications that I've appeared in. So it's not all the information is updated just yet. So I've got to fill in some of these blanks here. I updated this image here, and so I haven't updated this part here, but you can see down the bottom that sticky footer. So if you have a look down here, there's this sticky footer that no matter where I go, it always allows people to say, yes, give me access. And again, I haven't filled out this part yet. So that is really where we got to for day 9 and day 10, is to start to really style this out in a way that's going to have high perceived value. What I'm now doing is sort of breaking down this image here into its individual parts to kind of explode it out. What I'm also going to do is add a unique framework to this, and we need to add a lot more images. It's a little bit too text heavy for my liking at the moment. So that'll be day 11, is putting all this together and trying to put the finishing touches on it. So if you have enjoyed what you've seen and you've learned something, I'd love it if you could support this channel. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. I'd love for you to leave a comment and let me know what's one thing that stood out to you from today's video that you'll likely implement in your business moving forward. And if you haven't already, go and join the school community. You'll get access to the digital whiteboard and a lot more resources there as well. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on day 11. Take care. Bye.